gone, still on the ride. Mike and Need be side by side, talking thrills from coast to coast, celebrating what we love the most. Turn it up, feel the vibe, join the thrill of this ride. Hold on tight, it's time to go. Here it is, Coaster Radio.
This is your announcer, Neil Patrick Harris. Welcome to the 20th anniversary season of Coaster Radio. Here are your hosts, my close personal friends, Mike Collins and E.B.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the original theme park podcast. You are listening to Coaster Radio. My name is Mike. I am here with my friend E.B., and we are ready to talk theme parks and thrill rides.
That's right, Mike. This is going to be a lot of fun. We took a couple of weeks off there, Mike. I think people started to notice that we had pre-recorded those episodes because we didn't talk about Universal.
Oh, that happens sometimes.
Okay, so this is a real episode. This is an episode we recorded it this week. So yes, this is a current actual episode of Coaster Radio. So Mike, let's explain. This is April. If longtime listeners know, this is what April's like for us.
Yeah, so this is what happens. So every April, I have to go to Las Vegas for work. It's a big, giant convention out there. So I'm like, basically the whole week before the convention is like crunch time for me. So that's not a great week to record Coaster Radio. Then there's the week in Las Vegas. And again, not a great week to record Coaster Radio. But then I added something on. You've heard me talk about this 50th birthday trip that I've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
And that was it. So I hopped a quick flight from Las Vegas to Los Angeles and met the family out there, took them to Disneyland for 2 days. So I'm going to talk about that in the second half of the show. Then after Disneyland, we went out to the coast and stayed at a house that overlooked the water. It was kind of a dream come true for me. That's a bucket list thing. Always wanted to live by the Pacific Ocean. And so I got to do that for a week. So I'll tell you about that too. So 1, 2, 3 weeks that we were not recording Coaster Radio, but we did pre-record all of those episodes. The bad news is Epic Universe opened wide. I know it's not officially open. They haven't had the grand opening, but let's face it, they're open. I mean, pretty much people are going in that they're selling like one-day tickets to people who are at the resort. They've let media in. They've let people, team members with their friends. They've lifted
the embargo, so we've seen on-ride videos over and over again of all of the attractions. So we missed all of that, but that's okay because today we're going to kind of wrap that up. Mike, you mentioned it in the second half of the show. We're going to talk about your California trip. I see you here on the live webcast. Go to our YouTube. It's at Coaster Radio. Find us on YouTube. We've got video of every episode of CoasterRadio.com in this 20th season on our YouTube at Coaster Radio. Mike, I see you on the webcast. You got a tan. You're in California.
I know.
On the coast. Come out to the coast. Have some laughs.
Yeah. Oh, man. I had a good time. It was rough, though. I'll tell you about it when we get to that part of the show because it was not all wine and roses, EB. There were some hiccups on the trip. I'll tell you about that. But, yes, I do have a nice tan. I'm finally getting to it. It's finally T-shirt weather. I like that, too. So if you're watching us on YouTube, it's T-shirt time. But yeah, lots of good stuff to talk about, including, and we're going to get, I think if things go well next week, we're going to do and I hate to use the pun, but an epic universe show. We're working on that right now, trying to get some guests to come in, people who have been there, people who have experienced all of those rides. I am really trying not to look at all of those point of view videos that are like creeping up. Like I'm seeing them by accident, which is a problem. Like
sure, they just pop up in your feed now.
Yes. If I'm like looking on Instagram just at night, hey, checking out a few things. If I see one more Monsters Unchained
a Frankenstein slips into your Instagram reels and you throw your phone across the room.
I get so mad because then I see like the Phantom of the Opera and I'm like, oh, they put the Phantom of the Opera in there. That's cool. And so it's like
spoiler
piece
alert.
By piece. Yeah. And then I just did it. Look at that. So
yep.
I know a long time before we get to our first drop here because there's a lot to talk about, but we're going to hit it all. And the other thing too, we should say real quick, this was supposed to be the anniversary episode of Coaster Radio. If you were listening on Friday, April 25th, that is the official 20th anniversary day of Coaster Radio. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. But I even that's getting bumped back. So we're going to have some Universal talk next week. We're going to do the 20th anniversary episode with the next installment of The Ultimate, our season-long game show is going to be the week after that. And then, Mike, like we said, Universal is the thing that we have been remiss to talk about. So that is our first drop. Now, we had 2 Universals. This is the thing. We didn't just have one Universal that we failed to talk about on Coaster Radio. There were 2 Universals that we failed to talk about on Coaster Radio. We had some talk on Theme Park News, but now is the time, Mike, for me and you, after all of this is settled, after we've been spoiled, after we've heard all the rumors and the people that were making predictions, not only Universal Epic Universe, but Universal UK.
Yes. And it was so weird to be walking around Disneyland knowing that all of this Universal stuff was going on. I mean, because that's where all of the attention is. How much Epic Universe do you want to do this week, EB, versus next week, where we're going to have a bunch of guests from Orlando on who have seen that stuff? Like, do you want to give kind of just an overview of how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, I think in general, we can just talk about how it has been everywhere. It was really interesting to watch over the last few weeks how things were leaking out bit by bit. And then when the official embargo lifted, it was just a floodgate. I think it was like a Friday to a Saturday. I can't remember. But all of a sudden, it was POVs of everything were posted online.
Oh my gosh.
And you really could see just about everything. I'll say my first reactions, I'm super impressed. I think the Mario Land looks awesome. The reveal of coming out of the tunnel looks amazing. Celestial Park looks great. Isle of Berk is awesome. I see Hiccup always is popping up because that Hiccup walk around face character is amazing. The Boston Dynamics robot dog dragon is a little bit weird and off-putting, I think. I'm disappointed with how many nets there are around all of the roller coasters. But yes, to your point, maybe we just leave more of that conversation for next week when we actually bring in some folks who have been to the park.
Yeah, I'm excited by the little bits and pieces that I've seen, and I'm really, really trying to not watch POV videos. I'm going to explain why in the second half of the show, because I let me, a little spoiler alert, I finally got on Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland.
Yeah, you haven't.
And I'll tell you about that. I wish I had never watched a point of view video of that, because it would have been such a fantastic experience to have that happen in real time and not know what was going to happen. Like, I sort of felt like, oh yeah, okay, here comes Kylo Ren. Oh, look up, here's where the lightsaber is going to go through. And imagine if all of that had happened fresh and I didn't know that was going to happen. It would have
and I'll ask this before the second half of the show, you'll give us the full review, but did you have anything in B mode?
No, it was all in A mode too.
Okay, now that was my thing, was like, oh, I got the B mode.
Yes, you knew it, and you knew it too, right?
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. And I was waiting. I knew where the B mode moments were.
So you were anticipating, like, which one am I going to get?
And I sort of felt like it was before spring break. I was like, oh, I'm going to get the B mode. I know it. Like, they're going to just give us the crap. But then it was a shock when everything.
I'm going to get the B mode.
Everything was in A mode. So we'll talk about that later. But
well, let's talk about Epic Universe then, because this is another one. Or let's talk about the Universal UK, which I guess doesn't have a name. No. They're just calling it a Universal Destinations and Experience plan for the UK.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually have a name for it yet. We knew this was coming. We had the rumors, but then we get this official announcement from Universal Comcast that this is happening. And we got a little teaser of some concept art.
Right.
I think the most important concept art, a map.
Right.
I mean, it's not a map. It's an aerial view concept art, but essentially everybody is breaking this down as a map and trying to identify the lands. We had our good friend Nick Hudson did a special report from the UK with his friends on Theme Park News, our daily podcast. Go to find Theme Park News wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a daily news podcast from Coaster Radio. Going around the circle here, because Universal UK, it looks like Islands of Adventure, right? I mean, there's a big lake in the middle. You go through the big main street entryway. The front entrance looks a lot like Hollywood Studios with the big globe. And then you go around the lake to all of the different lands. And I think that's been the big conversation, is trying to identify the lands and the attractions based on this one drawing.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it reminds me of like Epic Universe back in the day when they first released the aerial artwork and everybody was zooming in on like the pixelated photos and stuff, trying to figure it out. The thing that I keep hearing about, and I don't know if you've heard this too, are they going to, I mean, does it look like there is a Back to the Future land?
Well,
Because that's what I kept hearing in California. Everybody
shall we
was
go
saying
around? Shall we go
Yeah.
around the lake? Because you do come
Yes.
in this grand plaza area. Then there is a main street type space. Then you hit the lake, and no doubt the lake is going to have some sort of nighttime spectacular show. But then
Mhm.
we go to the left around the circle. So we're going clockwise from the south. It looks like in 40 minutes outside of London, I think is where the park is being
Right.
built.
Yep.
And it appears to be a hotel inside the park. It looks like, and then the first land that we encounter, it appears to be sort of a fairgrounds sort of a space. We can see 3 what looks like roundish attractions and some small show building. I've heard a couple of different theories on this, but I think the most popular one is this could be Paddington Bear.
Oh, which would make sense for England. And I think
Mhm.
that's a beloved character over there. So I could see that
Mhm.
working. Yeah.
And or some other kind of themed kiddie land, but Paddington seems to be the consensus, I think. Then you
Yeah.
continue on, and then we get into, I think, what you and I are most excited about, and a lot of people are super excited about. People are saying this is a Back to the Future land.
Oh, man.
A Back to the Future land. We have a what looks like show buildings on 3 sides of what will be the courthouse square.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then not only do we have those 3 the show buildings that surround the courthouse square themed area, coming out of those buildings in the back is a gigantic, what looks like multi-launch coaster that has an epic spike.
Hmm.
And people are saying this may very well be the fastest, tallest roller coaster in all of the UK.
Interesting.
And I've seen
Yeah.
drawings of this thing, with like rendering it out and showing how it's going to launch you out and up the spike. Then there will be a switch track. You will come backwards down the spike, go through several elements, and then launch again after you go through all of these elements up the spike, and then backwards and then forwards again back into the show building. So essentially launching you through time and then returning you back to the present day.
Yeah. And Universal has been knocking it out of the park with their roller coasters lately. I mean, just here in the States, Velocicoaster and Starfall Racers. And imagine if they keep that up in the UK too. I mean, they're right away. I mean, people are already saying that those 2 roller coasters in the US that Universal has built like are in some people's top 5s right there. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then we continue around here, and I think do we feel like this is going to be? Some people are saying a Lord of the Rings land, but I don't think that's possible. Right? Do you think there's going to be a Lord of the Rings? There was no reason to think that they've secured the rights to Lord of the Rings, even though people really want Lord of the Rings. To me, it looks more like this is the Jurassic Park area of the park.
Probably so.
Right, because we see these round canopies. We see a river that's going through. There is a big, epic show building that's back there somehow. I think this is going to be a Jurassic Park area.
I can't imagine that they would. There's no way they wouldn't have a Jurassic Park section in a UK park. There's no way. It's too big of an IP, and it's one of the best things Universal has. Yeah, it's got to be. But Lord of the Rings would get people pumped too, especially if they could do, what they did with Isle of Berk and to that level of theming. Why not? That could be good too.
Now this is where we start to get some question marks. People are saying that, something that's sticking out that is not here is any sort of Harry Potter land.
Right.
And it does look like there is no Harry Potter land in this park. I don't see anything that indicates anything Harry Potter, and maybe that's because there is already a Harry Potter experience of some sort in London.
Maybe.
And so we continue around the circle here. We're about halfway through. I think this is going to be more Jurassic World. So we've got the Jurassic World where we have Camp Jurassic. We have a river of some sort. We have what looks like an indoor show building, but continue around. Is that a Jurassic World roller coaster? This is the other big roller coaster that we can see in this rendering. It's a huge green roller coaster that goes out into the woods, but then also goes out over the lake in the middle. Mm-hmm. This could be Jurassic World. All of it is Jurassic World.
Why not, though? I mean, but I would be shocked if there was not Harry Potter. But I don't know. This is where we need to ask our English friends about this, and Nick Hudson and people like that would know. Would a Harry Potter thing work in England, or are they just like, oh, we're kind of over that? Like, I know here in the States, everybody's crazy about it, but how do they feel about that in Europe?
Well, and if people in Europe love Harry Potter, maybe you don't want to put it in the UK park to make, right? Like, think about it. we're putting the iconic American Universal property, Back to the Future, in the UK.
Yes.
That makes you and me want to go to the UK.
Right.
Put Harry Potter in the States. That makes everybody in the UK want to come to the States.
Right.
Is that the logic here? Maybe.
Yeah. And how many of our British friends do we know who have made that trip? You know, like over to see Harry Potter. Yeah. And multiple times too. So,
And now this is probably the most interesting one to me. Is in the back here we see a stunt show that looks like some sort of big, large amphitheater type space that apparently has water in the middle. It looks like a lake. It's got that rusty metal theming, Mike, that parks like to do. This very, very, very much looks like Waterworld. Are they building a Waterworld stunt spectacular at Universal UK? That would be shocking to me.
I could see it working, though. I could see it. It's one of the most popular shows.
It's a great show.
Yeah. I could see them putting it there. Like if it's worked for so long, and I know it was a flop of a movie, but I think the best thing to come of it was that stunt show.
How dare you, sir?
I liked it personally, but it flopped.
It's a great movie.
You know,
No, this is really. I have heard some people theorize that maybe they're just teasing us and saying it's going to be a Waterworld, and everybody's rolling their eyes at it. But in reality, it's going to be a James Bond stunt spectacular, and they plunked down a Waterworld rendering just to throw us off.
A James Bond stunt show would be pretty badass.
Yeah,
and that would work so well in England. You know, like he's an English character, man.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. Yes, James Bond. That'd be great.
Okay, now we continue around, and we are in Shrek land of some sort, right? This is this is the I don't know, what is Shrek's land? Is he Fairy Tale Land? Is he Neverland? I don't know where Shrek lives, but this is going to be the Shrek area of the park. And then we continue around to Illumination's Minion Land, and I guess does this look like the Minion Land that they built in Hollywood?
I guess
where it's got the fake roller coaster. This people are saying this is a roller coaster. Maybe it's a kiddie coaster that's on top, or other people are saying that the other Minions Land that's in the U.S. has just a facade of a roller coaster. So maybe that's what we're seeing here in this Minions Land area. And then people are saying we're now back up to the front again and going back down the Main Street. What will the Main Street be themed? People are saying maybe it could be Hollywood, maybe it could be Main Street USA, maybe it could be something else. We don't know much just by looking at that. It does look like it could be. I mean, it's Universal, right? So it's going to be. I think it'll be Hollywood Land, right? That Main Street,
yeah, right. I think that could work as well, and it makes sense to kind of. I mean, I really think, like, especially with Epic Universe and Islands of Adventure, like, it got away from the movie park so much. Yes, you're going through the movies, but it wasn't so much a movie park. I think that would be cool to bring that back, a little bit of the Universal Studios Florida, Universal Studios Hollywood angle to this new park. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so there you go. We've got a Minions Land, a Shrek Land, a Waterworld stunt show, a Jurassic World, a Back to the Future, a Paddington Bear, and a James Bond stunt show.
Yeah. Cool
Maybe
stuff,
instead
man.
of the Waterworld. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
I like it. We'll
see. Is anything missing? Is there anything that needed to be there that isn't going to be there? Do you think they're throwing us off the scent on this?
I
do you think this is exactly what it's going to be?
This is always where it's interesting, and this is where it's interesting to talk to the designers years later, because how far away is this? I mean,
2032?
Yeah, we're a long way away, right?
Far away.
7 years. A lot changes in that 7 years. Like, yes, they probably have a good idea of what's going on, but they probably have fallbacks too. You know, like, okay, if this falls through, we're going to do this, and it's similar. And so, you know, I wonder sometimes if the artwork is vague, you know, on purpose. So we'll see. And that's why it's interesting to have this stuff, have this conversation kind of archived, have this map archived, and then look at it 7 years from now and see how close it was. I mean, it's interesting to do that with the Epic Universe stuff too. Like, there were things that people got dead on right, and then there were things that were wrong too, you know, that we know today. So interesting.
Yeah, it's set to open 2031 is what it says here, and they're describing this as a multi-billion-pound investment. I don't know what that
jolly.
means. It's grand.
Bugger me.
And they're saying this will be the largest attraction in all of the UK, with an expected attendance of 8.5 million in its first year alone.
You know, those other English parks are like, oh, bollocks.
Well, didn't Alton Towers or somebody, or Merlin or somebody, put out a press release like, welcome, this can only be good for all of us. Yay!
And behind the scene, they're like, bugger me.
Yeah, I think they did put out a thing that they were trying to be optimistic. It's like, yeah, what else? What choice do you have? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? It's good if it brings more people, if it brings you and me and people like that over, because we're not just going to stop at the Universal Park.
8.5 million. Are there even 8.5 million people in the UK? I don't know. I'm an
I don't
American.
know my geography that well, EB, but I assume there might be some more. But what I'm thinking is that, like, you know, this might be where we go. Like, do we wait to go to England for the big tour?
No, that's not fair to our poor British people. We're all going to be too old. Yeah. We keep waiting. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But we got to go back for this. This looks good. So
yeah,
I like it, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Well, I want to hear about your trip to Hollywood. That's in the second half of the show. But Mike, first we got to do quick hits.
Quick hits.
So you remember at King's Dominion?
Peter in the chat room says Alton Towers is effed.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. That's very succinct.
Yes,
that's an American right there making a comment.
I like it.
Right.
So you remember at the media day for Rapterra at King's Dominion, we talked to Bridget, the general manager of the park, and we talked about that whole jungle expedition area. We talked about one ride that was back there that has not been themed to jungle expedition. It was the backlot stunt coaster.
Yes.
And she said, I can't tell you what's going on, but we are not done theming the area yet, which means that ride's going to get a retheme at some point.
Yeah.
I always wondered, would they keep the one at Kings Island the same? You know, it's kind of just, in the same shape as King's Dominion. It needs some type of theme now that the Paramount days are over. It does not need to be that type of thing. We got our answer this week, EB. I had the same reaction.
Okay, so let's explain here.
Yes.
Both of these coasters opened in the Paramount days of Kings Island and Kings Dominion. Was there one in Carowinds too?
No,
It was the Italian Job stunt coaster.
Yes,
and I can't even remember who was in the Italian Job, but there was
Marky Mark
Wahlberg was in it, and there was an epic car chase with the Mini Coopers.
Yes,
which were newish back when that movie came out. And so Paramount opened the backlot stunt coaster, the Italian Job backlot stunt coaster, where you were filming. That was the premise. You're here at the movie studio filming the car chase scenes in your own little Mini Coopers. That was the roller coaster. And so you launch through a parking garage. You zigzag through a highway scene. Then you stop in this back alley with containers. And a helicopter comes and shoots at you. There's an explosion. Then you drive your Mini Cooper down into the tunnels and the subways, and then leap out over a bridge and back into the loading station. Yeah. Awesome roller coaster. Great idea for a roller coaster. Super fun. It's one of my favorite roller coasters because it's so compact and has that amazing launch into a helix.
Yeah.
Which I can't think of any other roller coaster that does that. It's got a great finale when you launch after the helicopter attack into the dark tunnel of the subway.
Mm-hmm.
And it works even after Paramount left, and they just called it Backlot Stunt Coaster.
Yeah,
it still works just fine. Now, to your point, King's Dominion now is doing Jungle Expedition, retheming a couple of things, building new rides, Rapterra and others. We said, easy overlay, make them little Jeeps, and make it be like you're in a Mayan temple and flying through the Mayan temple and trying to escape things. Great. I don't know what Kings Island was thinking. I don't know if they were like, we have $6,000 that we still need to spend this year. What can we do with $6,000? And they went to the sign shop and they said, do you have any like generic test signs that are ugly that you're not going to use? Because we can buy those from you for $6,000. And then they put them up on the Italian Job stunt coaster. The billboards just say Cincinnati generically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now the coaster is called Queen City Stunt Coaster.
Yeah.
Is it still called Stunt Coaster? I don't even know.
It's still a Queen City Stunt Coaster.
Queen City Stunt Coaster. And then immediately you Google what city is called Queen City, and apparently Cincinnati is called Queen City. I had no idea. But that is, number one, a terrible name, and number two, a complete waste of an opportunity to give that coaster a new theme. 100% unnecessary, and the helicopter doesn't even shoot at you anymore at all.
I know.
At least before it was broken,
right?
But they still had lights that lit up.
Yeah,
and now it doesn't even do that.
Yeah, it doesn't even do that. Yeah, it makes no sense what they did.
Awful.
Like, And a lot of people from Cincinnati were like, I didn't know this was the Queen City. Like, they had no idea. So why not just call it Cincinnati Stunt Coaster?
Well, and I also don't know why I'm driving around on a wrecked highway being shot at by a helicopter in Cincinnati.
Is it that
And then
dangerous of a
driving
place?
through,
Yeah.
you know, Mike, that world famous Cincinnati subway system.
Yes. There you go. Yes.
What?
Yeah. Like, I agree with you that this was not
most
necessary. Yeah.
Unnecessary
Yeah,
regime.
it was not necessary. Or wait until you get a little more than $6,000 to do it right and come up with some type of theme or something, or just copy what King's Dominion is going to do and make it a Mayan temple ride. Like,
Or
just
leave
plot
it.
that.
Or
Yeah,
leave
just
it because
yeah.
it's a fantastic roller coaster
Yeah.
as is. Originally, for people who didn't get to ride it originally, when you come into that show scene, there are police cars with the lights flashing. The helicopter actually rises up
Yes, I
from
remember.
behind the shipping containers, and you hear the helicopter noise. I think they even had fans that blew wind on you.
Yeah.
And then there was the sound effects of the helicopter shooting its machine guns at you. Smoke came out of the guns on the helicopter.
It was cool.
And then the barrels that were stacked up behind you exploded in real flames.
Yeah.
Then you launched into the subway. It was amazing.
It was
of course,
great.
those effects broke more and more and more and more over
Yeah.
the years. The helicopter didn't rise up anymore. There was no more smoke. There was no more wind.
Right.
Still lights on the police cars. Instead of actually shooting smoke out of the gun barrels, they just lit up red.
Yeah.
The fireballs, I think, eventually stopped working. But it's still great.
Yeah. And
It's
I
still a great roller
appreciated that
coaster.
ride, man, because like they really followed the chase scene of what happened in Italian Job. Like, it really was.
It went through the same sequence.
Yeah, it was really great. It was really well done. It was really, and just, you're right though, as the effects just stopped working, it became like, oh, that's too bad. But I'm with you. I still rode it every time because it was that launch into the helix.
It's a great roller coaster.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't know. Just Kings Island rarely makes a misstep, and this feels like one. Like, just like you said, I think it in the end, not something they needed to do. They could have spent that $6,000 anywhere else. Make the parking lot gravel a little better. I don't know anything, but yeah, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
So
very, very disappointed in that move, Kings Island.
Yeah.
I have no idea why you were doing it. Another weird misstep, Mike. The Zambezi Zinger. Did you see this one? The Zambezi Zinger at Worlds of Fun. This, of course, was replacing the old Schwarzkopf steel coaster that had a spiral lift.
yes.
They tore that down, and then in 2023 they brought in GCI to build a new wooden roller coaster, and on the same site, and they made it a wood coaster with a spiral lift.
Yeah. Okay.
Super weird, super unique. And then it's this great wooden roller coaster that like hugs the terrain. Great roller coaster at Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, the Zambezi Zinger.
Right.
I guess something was not working well with that spiral lift. It's a tire drive lift.
Right.
And they announced we're going to enclose the spiral lift. Now
Why?
you're like, okay, I guess maybe something's wrong and they need to protect it from the weather or something like that. Or maybe there's going to be some sort of really awesome theming they're going to put inside it. Too bad that we're going to lose the visual of the spiral lift because it was cool to watch.
Right.
It was cool to see a wooden roller coaster traveling up that spiral. Mike, they didn't do any of those things. They didn't build a cool enclosure. They didn't put any theming in it. They essentially built a long spiral-shaped metal shed.
Oh no.
Like, it's not even like you would think that they would imagine a giant silo,
Yeah.
right? One building around the entire thing, and then you could like put stuff inside it.
Right.
No, they actually made it be a tunnel, the entire spiral up, and it's made out of corrugated metal.
Weird.
So it's loud, it's hot.
Is it hot? Yeah.
And
it's going to be hot.
pointless.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a terrible misstep. And nobody likes this thing. It's really, really ugly. Takes away from the fun of the ride. And again, why did you do this? They should have borrowed $6,000 from Kings Island.
Yeah, because isn't it more fun to have it in the open and you can kind of see things as you're going around and
Well,
you
that's
see it
good.
getting higher and
The fun of being on a spiral lift and the fun
Yeah.
of watching the spiral lift. If you enclosed it and put something happening inside and had a reason to be inside, even if you had to enclose it because of the, to protect it or whatever, do something cool with it
right.
if you're having to do that.
Right.
But no, they just made the ride worse all the way around.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very strange. Very
Yeah,
strange.
not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Okay, another not good, Mike. Superman Escape from Krypton is closed.
That is a bummer. That is a bummer to me. Although I am very happy that we got to Magic Mountain and got to ride it, even though it was the longest wait of the day.
Yes,
And
at the end of the day.
a bit of a disappointment too, because I think I had so much. This is a true case of anticipation of seeing this ride for years and years and years, ever since I was like first a theme park and roller coaster enthusiast, and then finally getting a chance to ride it. Well, actually, finally getting a chance to see it first and be like, wait, that thing isn't even going anywhere near the top of the tower at all. So it's not getting up to 100. Like, there's no way that was going 100 miles an hour. And then getting on it and just being like, this is like weird restraints and kind of just everything's weird about it. And then it shoots off and it's like, oh, this is just so past the times, man.
Well,
like
and they switched it to launch you backwards, which was weird, right? So this is an Intamin reverse free fall roller coaster. It launches you horizontally, and then you just do the curve and go up, and then fall back down. So it's Mike. Is this even a roller coaster? I don't even know. 2 tracks, 2 single car vehicles. They did put the Luthor Drop of Doom on the tower, and they are saying that ride and attraction is going to stay.
Oh, they're going to
in
keep
operation
that.
at least for this year.
Yeah.
But the coaster itself is gone. It opened back in 1997. This was iconic, I feel like, for the park, and it's sad to see it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when it opened, there was nothing like that around. I mean, there was like the ride in Australia that was similar, but it was one of a kind. So when it opened, it put them on the map for sure. And, or kept them on the map. They were already there. But yeah, it's sad to see it go, though, because it was iconic. And I'm going to be bummed if that Lex Luthor ride closes eventually, too, because that was an awesome drop tower. That's one of the few rides recently that I've ridden that I was actually kind of scared of. Like, I did not want to ride that, but we were there with Coaster Radio listeners, and I remember thinking like, oh, I got to ride it. I can't be like, no, I'm going to stay on the ground. So yeah, I was so happy I got to ride it, because that's, I mean, dropping from that height, like 410 feet or whatever it is on a drop ride is pretty wild. That's great.
Yeah. So at least that's going to stick around a little bit, but the Superman ride is gone. So that's our next one. Last one here, Mike. Let's end on some good news. We love a good theme park auction. This is probably one of the best ones I feel like maybe we've ever seen.
Yes.
Spiethandsatow.com is the auction house, SPIETH, and Satow, SATOW.com. There's a park called Adaville Family Theme Park in Massachusetts, and I guess they're changing their entire business model, so they're selling off all of the attractions at the park.
Wow. Everything.
And the list is incredible, and there's going to be a live auction. It's less than a week away, Wednesday, April 30th. I'm hoping that we can get a Coaster Radio listener out there to this thing to see it. Looking at the list of attractions, there's a couple of dozen attractions here. We've got like a Flying Turtles, a Crazy Bus, lots of little kiddie rides, a Rockin' Tub, a helicopter, a Caterpillar, a Scrambler. There's a Sally Den of Thieves dark ride.
Yes, look at that. Yeah.
Right? There's a pirate ship. There's a shooting gallery. And then, Mike, this is probably my favorite, that I think you could probably, if you could attend this auction, walk away with a pretty sweet item. They're selling off a whole collection of animatronic dinosaurs.
Oh, yes. Oh, there they are. I see them. Oh, my gosh. And those
like,
look
how
pretty
great
good.
would that be? And then, of course, all sorts of theming that's going to be at this park is also up for sale. So
man.
Go check this out. We'll post links on our social medias. But if you want to go find it, just look up Norton Auctioneers of Michigan or spiethandsatow.com and you'll find them. Again, this is Adaville Amusement Park.
It's amazing because like the newer rides are from like 2015.
They're new. This
but
is
then
not
you've
garbage.
got like a 1962 Eli Scrambler. Like that's cool. And like, how much do they want for the Den of Lost Thieves dark ride? That's what I want to go back and see how much all these things went for if we're able to see. But I've never seen an auction, like you said, that's this many things.
And this many quality things, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, this park has been broken down and standing but not operating for 3 years. Come pick up the scraps. No, this is a successful park that was operating last season, so everything's in tip top shape. So they're gonna make some money off this. But yeah, check it out, everybody. See what you can find. If you do find something, send it to us. P.O. Box 3399, Bloomington, Indiana. I'll look for the freight delivery.
Yes, there you go.
at the P.O. Box.
They're going to put the slip in the box saying you got to come out back.
Right, you got to come pick this up. It's it's out back on the flatbed.
Your Eli Scrambler from 1962 is in the back.
Yes, please.
You've got room. You've got room out at that property of yours, man. You could put it
out here in Indiana. That's right.
You could like start your own little park with some of these things,
Ship it out. Birthday parties. That's what I'm going to do. Birthday parties.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm getting the shooting gallery. I think that's the way to go.
Oh, that's cool. That is fun.
Out here in Indiana, we're going to swap it out for live ammunition, though.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, there you go. It would last at least a couple of weeks, and then that's it. So,
all right, Mike, let's take a break here. I want to hear about your trip to Disney. I want to hear about the stuff that you did at Las Vegas. Let's remind everybody again, next week, we are going to talk about Epic Universe in full with some experts and hear about their actual visit. So we're going to get some news from on the ground at Epic Universe. And then 2 weeks from today, anniversary show with the next installment of our ultimate game show for season 20 of Coaster Radio.
Yeah, so if you've been wanting to play that, remember we did that about a month and a half ago. So it's round 2, where we remember at the end of the year, we're going to have 5 winners from each of the rounds, and then they go head to head, and we crown the ultimate coaster enthusiast, the ultimate theme park enthusiast, the ultimate fan of the Coaster Radio podcast. So if you want to play in that next round, May 6th at 9:00 p.m., you want to write that down. You want to put it into your phone as an alert to make sure that you are with us at live.coasterradio.com to play that game. But we'll remind you again next week. Also, we're looking for some help here with the anniversary show. That's actually one of the reasons that we postponed it, because we thought about it a little bit, and I think it's good for you guys if you want to participate in it. So we've already got some people who have sent in some nice messages and stuff. If you'd like to do that and be part of the anniversary show, you can. But EB, I think we're also looking for people to send in their favorite memories or moments from the show, and that will help us kind of go back into the archives to play some of those. We are kicking around like, do we do a top 10 or a top 20 moments? But maybe the best way to do it is just to have the listeners kind of email or go on social media or record a voicemail and send it to us, but to tell us what, in 15 or 20 seconds, what that favorite memory is, and then we'll dig it out and play it. I think that'd be fun.
That's a great idea. No, if you're on the Coaster Radio Discord, you can do that by going to patreon.com/Coaster Radio and subscribing to support the show. On the Discord, Matt, the archivist, he has a whole channel on there about the past episodes of Coaster Radio, compiling all of those things if you need ideas. But yeah, tell us what your favorite Coaster Radio moments, something that means something to you, something that stands out from the past, and tell us what it is. Feedback@coasterradio.com, or you can send us a voice recording using the trip report function in the Coaster Radio app that you can download from the Apple iOS store. You could find us on social media, leave a comment or something like that, or on the Discord. But tell us, what's your favorite moment? We'll go find that. That's going to be the inspiration, I think, for going back and doing best ofs. The listeners have to nominate them, Mike.
Yes, yeah. So it's going to be a really fun show and a lot of other surprises too. So that's coming up in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes. But coming up after the break, we've got some trip reports, one from overseas, one from close to us here in D.C., and then California. Here we come. I'll tell you about my trip out to the Sunshine State. Or is that Florida? Is Florida the Sunshine? Or it's the Golden State, I guess. Yeah, so
okay.
There was an earthquake out there too, EB. Had an earthquake while we were out there, so I'll tell you about that and a lot more right after this.
This is Coaster Radio. Welcome back to the 20th anniversary season of Coaster Radio. Here are your hosts, Mike Collins and EB.
Welcome back, everybody, to the original theme park podcast. You are listening to Coaster Radio. My name is Mike. I am here with my friend EB, having fun. Even though we did new shows, EB, you're right. It feels like we haven't been here in the studio for like a month. So it's fun to be back, fun to be with you, talking theme parks and thrill rides for sure.
That's right, Mike. And in the meantime, we've gotten some calls from the listeners. So we do have a couple of trip reports here before we hear your epic trip report from the West Coast.
Yes, let's do that right now. We've got a bunch. A bunch are starting to come in. This is fun. So during the next bunch of shows, we're just going to be playing trip reports. Let's just do some randomly here that we've got in. I've got a bunch loaded in the machine. I think this one is from overseas. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Mike and Evie. This is Mateus from Brazil, and I'm here at Walibi, Belgium.
Nice.
At Megalodon's opening day, and it's a fantastic family ride. It just so happened that my family and I were doing some tourism in the area, and I could visit the park right at opening day. And the coaster is just fantastic. It has plenty of nice airtime pops. It's just a fantastic family coaster for everyone. Everyone can enjoy it. So cheers. I hope you both can ride it someday. And yeah, awesome content on your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. And at first I thought it was Michael from Brazil. I got very excited that he has returned. But another great listener from Brazil heading to Walibi, Belgium, which is one of those parks in Europe I definitely want to get to.
Now, what is this? Megalodon? Is that what he said? I'm trying to look this up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a Gerstlauer airtime coaster. Oh, sweet. And that's awesome. This is great. Thank you.
Yeah. So very exciting stuff there. Let's go to another trip report. This one here, of course, is closer to home. I always like hearing from this park. I root for this park, EB, even though I don't go to this park, but I root for it. And let's take a listen.
Hey, Mike and EB. This is Ben G here at Six Flags America, the unofficial home park of Coaster Radio. It's opening day, and I've been here for a few hours. Got to ride Superman, Batwing, Roar and Wild One, a couple other little rides, but Superman is great this year. They've got brand new trains on it. They got one on there now and another one that they're going to be commissioning here in the next couple of weeks, it said. Roar is riding better than it has in years. They've got a lot of new wood on there.
Nice,
At the bottom of some of the hills. I'm actually standing in front of Roar right now, and it's going to be coming by here in just a second. But Wild One is always great. Firebird is surprisingly good this year. And here comes Roar.
Oh, nice.
And here it comes again.
Oh, double dip. Sounds good.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work on Roar, and last year it was almost unrideable. This year it's a whole lot better. I was able to ride it with my hands up the whole time, and I don't need to go to the chiropractor afterwards. But yeah, some nice changes here around the park. Got to go to some of the shows. Rhythmix is a really good show this year. They had it last year, and it's only gotten better. But yeah, great time at the park, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
All right, thank you so much, EB. Is it time to go back to Six Flags America? It's sounding good over there. That ride sounded good. And new trains on Superman? I like it.
I would love to see you go back and experience it again. I was there, I'm trying to remember, it was several years ago, but certainly more recent than you, Mike. Wild One's a great coaster. People are sleeping on Wild One as far as a classic Woody. That ride's over 100 years old. It relocated from a park in Massachusetts. And Roar's a good coaster too, especially if they've got new wood on it.
Yeah.
But other than that,
I know.
I don't know what else the park has, Mike.
It's so funny, man, because like those two experiences that I had years ago, it's over 15 years ago, were so bad that they poisoned me against that park. Like, I don't want to go back because it wasn't just a little bit bad. It was like worst of all time bad. And I've been to a lot of parks and had some bad experiences, but back in the day, that was so bad that it makes me not want to go. But hearing a trip report like that, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's time. Maybe they've
turned it around. I think you should give it another chance and just get in there and see.
Yeah, sure.
It will feel exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they do have the new. It's not Crack Axle Canyon, but they do have the new. They rethemed that area of the park where the Mind Eraser used to be. You'll recognize the Firebird as the old what was it? Dominator? What was it called before? It was Iron Wolf at Six Flags Great America. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's a relocated B&M coaster. But then, of course, Superman and Batman have always been there. And so, yeah, get back, try it out, see how it is. Yeah. It's not as bad as you remember. It's not as bad as you remember. Because I remember going when it was bad, too. And it was already better the last time I went.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think I might give it a shot. I'll go on like a weekday this summer.
Now, don't go coming off of a fantastic trip from Disneyland, though, because that will really make you have a comparison that's not going to be successful for Six Flags.
Yeah. So, let me tell you about my trip to California. I've said this on the show before. I don't think I'm somebody who believes in like past lives, but if I did, I really feel like maybe I used to live in California, maybe in the 50s or something like that. I don't know, because I've always felt this draw out to California. And so, for this milestone birthday here, my 50th, even though my birthday's in February, I said, I really want to go and spend a week in California. And of course, hang out at Disneyland for a little bit, but not make it a theme park trip. I don't want to do a Disney trip and be there for 7 days. I want to do that for a little bit, go and check out the park that I love, but then go to the coast and hang out by the Pacific Ocean and just kind of chill out. So I'll tell you about that in a second. But basically, like I said at the beginning of the show, I was out in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, man, let me just tell you for a second. It's starting to grate on me. I used to love going to Las Vegas, but
same as it ever was.
It's kind of going downhill a little bit, man. I don't know if it was post-COVID and just maybe they don't care as much, but it's not as much fun. I was out there and I was like, I don't even want to gamble. The rules have tightened up so much that it's harder to win. If you know anything about blackjack or stuff, all the tables are 6-5, which means the odds are even more against you. They don't have if you go and play blackjack, you don't want to play with an automatic shuffling machine because the cards are just random all the time. That way, when you play basic strategy, which is something that you learn in the best way to play blackjack, you're not really getting the best odds. If you played with a 6-deck shoe and played basic strategy, you're going to win 98% of your money back, and sometimes even win way more than that. The only times I've ever won money playing blackjack is when it's a 6-deck shoe. If I play against those random shufflers, I always lose. So it's you can't even find a 6-deck shoe anymore in Las Vegas.
How many cards are in the random shuffler?
The same amount, but it's constantly shuffling. So you're never gonna ride a wave of oh, now I know a bunch of 10s are coming out because I've seen a bunch of little cards the whole time, right? Because you may just get little cards constantly because they're just constantly shuffling.
Is that real, or is that you just having that weird gamblers it's time for it to happen? That's an actual math thing.
It's an actual math thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And so yeah, and it's true. And so my friends get mad at me. They're like, "What's wrong with you? You're an old man now. You don't play." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm watching you guys. You don't win. You're not winning money. You're losing. I'm seeing you lose. And maybe they get lucky on one hand or something, but they're losing. So and also, man, part of the fun of Las Vegas was the theming and going there and seeing all the cool things that they built and stuff. Now all the new hotels they're building are just looking kind of the same thing people complain about Disney. All their hotels look modern, but not fun. And there's no
theme.
Theming.
It just looks like the theme is new.
Yeah. So
none of them are dopey castles.
Yes, right. Yeah. And it's sad to drive by Treasure Island and the big pirate ship is there, but it's just sitting there and it's it hasn't been painted in years. It's fading. And hey, I like that they're doing stuff out at that Area 15. That's cool. They're putting in new experiences there. That's great. But yeah, you got to go off the strip for that. So I like that. I also heard, by the way, that Lost Spirits Distillery in Las Vegas, there's rumor that they are bringing that back just a lot smaller. So kind of giving that type of experience again. Go back and listen to my review of Lost Spirits on an earlier episode from a couple of years ago, but a really cool immersive experience where you get to do a rum tasting, but it's like a maze that you go through and you have to find the different tastings. But as you do, there are all of these different vaudeville acts and cool things that you run into. It's really cool, but it's going to be great when the Universal thing opens up later this year. I can't wait for that. So anyway, the plan was I went there and did my work week, then hopped on a quick flight from Las Vegas to LA, met my whole family there. By my whole family, not only my wife and my kids, but also her parents and my parents all came out. Everybody was out there. So it was a big, huge family trip. So we all met in Anaheim. And I'm sorry, actually, we met in LA and then rented a car and drove out to Anaheim. And I like Anaheim. I like going to Disneyland. My favorite thing about it is that it's walkable. I think you remember that when we went there.
Yes,
that, you know,
yes,
that you could stay there and like you don't have to then take a tram to Disney. You know, you can walk from your hotel and be at the gate in 5 minutes if you've got a hotel that's that close. I think that is really cool. I think that's one of my favorite things about Disneyland, because if you wanted to, man, you could like go to Disneyland in the morning, hang out there till like 2, go back to your hotel, take a little nap, you know, take a shower, and then come back. And Disneyland's open till midnight most nights. So, you know, you could like, you know, stay late and do it that way. So I love that about Anaheim and about Disneyland too. Also, I like that everybody there seems pretty friendly. I think everybody in Southern California seems pretty friendly. I rarely ran into somebody who was in a bad mood. So I like that about the place. So as we were there, I think I'm allowed to talk about this, but
Okay.
A listener of ours, Slam and Sammy, who's a great drummer, he actually is hired by Disneyland every now and then. Like he drums all around the world and does lots of things, but he was going to be working at Disneyland the next day, and he said like, "Hey, I'm going to be on Main Street. Be great to say hello to you because we're doing a show, and why don't you take a picture of what you're wearing and what Emma's wearing, because maybe there's like a special thing that might happen if we see you in the crowd." And so I was like, "Oh," and he's like, I don't want to tell you what it is, but just let me know what you're wearing that day." And so
Great.
I was really excited because this is going to be something cool for Emma. So we, we're at downtown Disney. We were eating some food, and I look over at Emma, and she's like kind of sitting there, and she's like looking down. And then she like lays down on the bench that we were sitting at, to eat. And I was like, "Oh, what's going on with Emma?" And like we're pushing her in the stroller, and she's just kind of like fading a little bit. And I was like, "Well, it is. She's tired. It was the a long flight, and she's jet lagged a little bit."
This is not the end of the day, though.
No.
You got a long day ahead still.
Yeah, well, this is now like dinner time because we had gotten there,
Okay, this is a little later. Okay.
So this is and the first day of Disneyland, and meeting Slam and Sammy would have been the next day.
Okay.
So everybody goes to bed, and we put them to bed, and we say, "Oh, they're just tired." When they'll wake up in the morning and be excited and ready to go. In the middle of the night, Emma starts going, "Oh, my throat is hurting. My throat is hurting," and I'm like, "Oh no." And so we reach over and we feel her head, and her head's like burning up. She's like just hot. And I'm like, oh no.
Like, don't you know it's my birthday?
Yeah. It's my birthday.
Why are you so selfish?
Don't do this to me. So I was like, "Oh man, are you kidding me?" So we talk about, we're like, "Look, let's just let her sleep. Maybe this happens sometimes with kids. Like, they'll have a fever and it'll magically be gone the next day." But we wake up and that fever's at 102, man. Like it's 102, her throat's hurting. I'm like, this is not good. So we had to find like an urgent care in Anaheim, and like we're driving her to the urgent care, and this is where like the theme park enthusiast in me is like burning up red, like because I'm seeing all these people like streaming down the street going to Disneyland.
Going in the opposite direction.
Yes.
You're leaving the park and they're going into the park.
Yes, and they're
you're
all
like,
smiling and
like,
holding hands. And
the rope drop is in 20 minutes and the urgent care is 12 minutes away. I mean, if we really go fast and the doctor can just give her a pill, we'll turn around and be okay.
You know what? That's what's going through my head. I'm thinking, well, hey, but Slam and
mathematically,
Sammy's,
I could still have fun.
And I'm thinking, Slam and Sammy said we had to be there at 11. Okay, it's like 7:30. I think we could do this. And so we get there, and they like do a throat swab, and they do a COVID test. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, if she has COVID, like, what are we gonna do? Like, this is gonna like totally like be nuts." And so anyway, they do the throat swab, and they go like take the test away, and they come back, and they're like, "Yeah, she's got strep throat."
Oh.
So that's I'm like, "That's it.
You're
We're done. We're done for the day." So we go like, and now it's like 9:30, and I'm just looking at my watch. I'm like, "Oh my God, this Disneyland day is just ticking away." It's like, I don't think we're gonna get there. And she's definitely not going to get there now. So what are we going to do? So we're at a CVS, and we're getting medicine, and she's magically looking better though. I don't know what's going on, but she
realized that she's supposed to be at Disney if she wasn't sick.
Yeah. So
and she was like, "Germs, be gone."
Yeah. So anyway, we got the medicine in her, and we decided like, okay. And I was thinking maybe we just shift everything. Like, let's just have a day where we just hang out here at the hotel, and maybe we do Disneyland Friday and Saturday.
Now, your tickets were not locked to the day?
That was the problem. They were all locked to days. And so I would have had to do some like finagling and going down to guest services. And so,
look at my sick kid.
Yeah, she's sick. Look at the 102
Feel
temperature.
sorry for me.
Yeah. So we decided that that Emma would just stay at the hotel with her mom, and I would take Claire into the park. And my parents came too. They were like, well, we'll come too. We'll just like at least give Claire a little bit of fun, and then we'll come back and all go on Friday.
Ouch.
So
okay.
So anyway, and you know, it sucked because like this trip was really for Emma. Emma's 6 years old. She's right at that age for Disneyland.
The trip was for you.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can say that. It's okay to say that.
If the Disneyland part, like the going to the coast was more for me. This was something where I just wanted them to experience that. Because they all know like the princesses, they all know the shows. They know
and we
Mickey
talk
Mouse
all about your girls are getting to the age where it's magical for you,
Yes,
and
yes,
you didn't get
yes.
that. You didn't get that.
Well, here's so we didn't get to meet Slam and Sammy, which sucked because I wanted to meet him. I've heard about him for years, but Slam and Sammy came by the hotel when I was away, when I was actually going and getting more medicine, and I wish I brought them down to show everybody on YouTube here. I misplaced them for a minute, but he gave me a set of his drumsticks. Like, and they've got his autograph on it. They are made specifically for Slam and Sammy K, and it says his name right on there. And they are used. He said they were Disneyland used. And so now I've got some Slam and Sammy K drumsticks, and I brought them down to show everybody, and I don't know where I set them.
You got some legit Disneyland memorabilia.
Yes, yeah. And he gave me these buttons of the Main Street Straw Hatters. This is what they kind of give out to the kids who help them during their show and stuff. So,
nice.
So that's cool. So what a cool job that he has, and what a nice guy. And we exchanged some texts and stuff. But longtime listener and great friend of the show. So it was nice. And I'm going to give those drumsticks a place of honor here in my office. Which is
great.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to tell this story. And this is a story we've talked about Universal a lot tonight and over the last couple of years. Especially, you've heard me say that Universal is surpassing Disney in almost every way, like in terms of their attractions, in terms of how the speed in which they build parks, customer service, price. I think they're beating Disney in all these areas.
Okay.
It occurred to me this day that I took my youngest daughter there, why Disney beats Universal overall. And I did not realize it until this thing happened, and I'll tell you about it.
Okay, still Team Disney, Mike.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
And I'll tell you why, and I was not prepared for this. I did not think that I would feel this way. So we're going through the main gate. It's my parents and Claire, who's 2.5, and me. We go through the gate, and it's just a friendly experience. They're taking our pictures. They're smiling. The lady makes my dad laugh, saying how handsome he is and how he has dimples, and he's loving that. He's like, this is the greatest day ever, because, this lady's flirting with them. And so we go into the gate, and my daughter sees Cinderella, or Aurora is who Emma told us who it was later. So, the actress playing her, she's sitting there like right at the main gate, just taking pictures with kids as they come in. And so I said, "Oh, Claire, do you want to go meet her?" And she sort of looked and she said, No, I don't want to. And so I said, that's okay. And we went around the corner and we took a picture with, it's really cool. When you buy the Lightning Lane with your ticket, you get free PhotoPass photos the entire trip. So all the Disney photographers there can take a picture. It automatically, they scan your app and the photo goes right to the app and you can download it. It's amazingly fast. It's really different than the old days. So we went and took a picture in front of the train station there, and those pictures turned out great. And then we walked back over, and I saw my daughter just looking at the princess, and she's just staring at her. And I said, "Well, do you want to go?" And she's looking, and she's seeing the other kids go, and she goes, "Yes."
Turns aside.
Yeah, and she goes, "Yes, I do want to." And so I'm thinking, my mom's saying like, "Okay, well, just hold her hand because she's going to be scared and." Go over there. So I'm holding her hand, and when it was her turn, all I said to the princess was, "Hey, hello, this is Claire." And she took over from there. I stepped back and just was a passenger, just watching, because she was so well trained and so perfect at just knowing what to do to make Claire feel comfortable. And Claire was just enthralled. Like she was just locked in. And, she said like, oh, Princess Claire, come over here. Oh, you're wearing a beautiful dress. Oh, let's take a picture together, Claire. And so she goes, look how I'm holding my dress like this. Now you hold it like that. And Claire just was smiling and did the exact same thing. And I got the perfect photo of the two of them like holding their dresses out. And then she went down and gave Claire a hug, and they were like hugging each other and closing their eyes. And I got a picture of that. And I said, right there, Universal does not have that.
You got Disney magic.
Yes. Universal does not have, because who do you meet at Universal that has the same reaction for a kid? Like I was trying to think of it today. Like for you and me, meeting Doc Brown might be cool, and we might have the same reaction. But who, like for kids, like Minions isn't going to do it. Shrek isn't going to do it, right? Like this is the advantage Disney has, is all these characters that are so beloved, but not only to the kids, but also to the parents who grew up with it, also the grandparents who grew up with it. Like I didn't realize that until that moment, that I have not had that same experience when I took my kids to Universal. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about characters that transcend their media.
Yeah.
And Disney has done such a good job with so many of their characters to make them more than their media.
Right.
Right. And I don't think any of the Universal characters successfully do that. Yeah, you can go and you can see the Scooby Gang. Yeah, you can go and meet Doc Brown or Dracula. But I mean, maybe Dracula does, right? And maybe the Bride of Frankenstein does.
Yeah.
But
I'm seeing people...
I can't think of any other character at Universal that seems out of place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I mean is that if you see Peter Pan running around Disneyland, that just makes sense.
Right. Exactly. He could be anywhere and it makes sense. Yeah.
Right. But seeing Gru.
Right. Yeah.
And at Universal, it's like, what? Yeah, that's obviously like going to see Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
It's not the same magic at all. All. And I think it is because of the venue of Disneyland.
Yeah. And all of those people who work at Universal and like are the characters do fantastic jobs. I'm not saying that it's them. I'm just saying it's the characters. The characters themselves are not in that same stratosphere of pop culture.
Well, and the venue is different, right? Because I've seen Wolverine and I've seen Superman and I've seen The Grinch. I've seen Beetlejuice. I've seen all of these at Universal, but they seem like costume characters walking around. They're not the characters. If you took that same Aurora and she showed up at the mall.
Right.
The magic is not
magic's
there.
not the same. No. Yeah, because it would just be like, that's someone in a character.
It's the combination of the character and the place that does it.
You're right.
Yeah.
So we
except for that new Han Solo, not the new Luke Skywalker.
Oh, wait.
Are we getting to that soon? Did you go to Star Wars Land?
I went to Star Wars Land. I was looking all over for that dude because I wanted to see if he was so low energy in person. Because all those videos they have, the dude is low energy. I know he's trying to be like Jedi Luke, but you can have a little more energy, dude. Like he's just like...
They should have done episode 4 whiny Luke.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What? How come you guys are here just getting the blue milk?
Yes.
I'm looking for my lightsaber.
At least he had some energy. But geez.
Oh, my aunt and uncle are dead.
Yeah. Oh man. So anyway, I'll move through. I knew, wouldn't that be fun if that's the discussion you had? So
what if they could have like the Book of Boba Fett Luke and the episode 4 Luke, both.
Yes.
Both
in different
of them.
sections.
And the one would be a whiny and the other one would be like, I'm so embarrassed for myself.
Yeah. Look at myself.
That was
there.
Me just a few years ago. I'm so ashamed.
Yeah. Aye. So,
all right, back to the princesses.
Yeah. So anyway, the great thing was, I'll tell you a couple. I'll mix up the days here a little bit, and just to tell you overall. But the great thing was, Emma rested all day on Thursday. On Friday, she was able to go, so everybody went. We were all in the park.
Oh my gosh!
Problem
that's great.
it was really good. That medicine like just knocked out whatever she was feeling. She was a little like slow, but she was able to do it, and we had strollers and we pushed her around and we made sure we took breaks during the day, so it worked. The problem was though, the Disneyland days that I had planned went from 2 days to 1. So instead of like leisurely moving around the park, I had to kind of, if people wanted to do certain things, I had to move them around quicker. Thanks to the lightning lane, though, that was possible to get on all the rides everybody wanted. That was cool. So Emma, the big thing she wanted to do, she wanted to meet Snow White and she wanted to meet Rapunzel. And so at one point we got over, like, they have a nice area, a nice shaded area of the park where the princesses go and like hang out. It's not like Disney World where you have to go into this big building and they're all there. Like, they're just out kind of where you can take really good pictures with the castle behind them and stuff. So so we saw the actress playing Snow White and we got in the line for that. It looked to be about a 20-minute wait or so. And the girls are getting all excited because that's their favorite princess and stuff. This is where I saw something that I'm not sure how I feel about. And I'm just going to tell you the story and kind of tell you how I feel about it, but I'm not sure how to feel about it. But let me just tell you what happened, because I've been thinking about it ever since and going back and forth whether I think it's appropriate or inappropriate. So here's the story. So anyway, we're in line and I see ahead of us some adult men. And so I'm looking around and like, oh, are they like holding lines for their kids or what's going on? Because it's a long line. It's not like easy, just walk up and take a picture.
Of
it's
course.
Like 20, 25 minutes to get up there. And they're waiting in the line and stuff. And so at one point, I look up and there's like early 20s guy talking to Snow White. And he's talking to her like, not like for like friendly adult conversation. Like, he's like talking to her like, oh, you were Snow White. Where is Dopey? Did you see the evil queen? Has she come after you? Like having an in-character conversation. And so then I'm looking around. I'm like, well, is this for TikTok? Like, is there somebody shooting video of this? And I'm looking around. I'm like, no, there's not. There's nobody taking photos. There's nobody doing anything. It's this guy who waited 25 minutes to have a character interaction.
Wait, how long was the line?
It was 25 minutes. That's 25 minutes.
Okay.
And he waited that long because he was a couple people in front of us. And it just threw me off because I was like, well, like, why? I'm a Disney fan, but I've never done that ever. Like, I've had no interest in doing that. I've actually been dragged to character breakfasts before and like kind of been like, oh, I don't want to interact. I'll sit here and eat the food, but I don't want to interact. I remember we did that. Like, a bunch of friends went to Disneyland after a work trip once, and one guy in the trip like booked a character breakfast, and I remember thinking,
why?
Why are we doing that? We could go on the rides. Why are we doing that? And we had this one interaction where Peter Pan came over, and he didn't like sit at our seat. He sat up on like the back of the seat, but I gotta give it to the Peter Pan. He didn't go overboard. He kind of like he brought his energy down to like an adult level. He's like, so what rides are you guys going on today? Like he did that. And I was like, all right, we're going to have like an adult conversation. He's not going to be like, come with me to Neverland. Like, he wasn't yelling that stuff. Like, we had a conversation, but this dude in the line was playing it up. And so I've been thinking about this ever since. Like, is that a friend of his? And he's just going and like having a wink, wink, nod, nod conversation with her. Like, hey, I came to see you at work and this is fun. And I'm going to ask you some questions in character. But I don't think it was. I think it was just a dude who wanted to talk to Snow White. And so I'm not sure how to deal with it. And let me say this before anything else.
Okay.
I am totally fine.
I have thoughts.
You have, okay.
Go ahead.
I am fine with anything that people want to do as long as they don't hurt themselves or hurt others. I'm down with whatever people want to do in their lives. I do not judge.
Libertarian Mike.
But I don't know. I came away from that going, well, this is kind of weird. And then in part of me, like, who wants to go.
Just because you're free to do it does not mean you will not pass by Mike's judgment.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, oh, we got to get to Oga's Cantina. We've got reservations. And I'm like, but this guy's taking a long time talking to Snow White when the kids have got to get up there too. So, but he was not the only one. There were two other dudes who also got up there doing the same thing, like talking. And I'm looking for the cameras because I'm like, they can't be doing this.
All right.
Unless it's for something, but
no. Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about it.
Here's my question, Mike. I can imagine, and I feel so bad because they're probably listening right now.
They're fans of the show. Yes.
But
yeah.
are these guys that are like, I want to have a conversation with a girl, and this is a way I can do that.
Maybe. I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot because and for this moment of the show, because I knew I wanted to talk about it, and I don't want to judge and put people down if that's what you want to do. But to me, as an adult, it's like there's so much to do at Disneyland. Why would you why would you do that for 30 minutes?
And talking to characters, I have also talked to characters in the parks. I just moments ago, you heard me talking about all the characters that I have met and interacted with and had a good time with. I think I did not list a single one from Disney. Yeah. It was grown-up characters, right? Like I would go riff with the Grinch or, Fred from Scooby-Doo or Dracula or Doc Brown.
Yeah.
I might even, have some fun with Gaston or Tigger. But a real princess girl who's pretending to be a 16-year-old?
Yeah, that's what
I'm not going up and being cute. That's weird.
Yeah. Like, and it's funny, like if you're at Universal and Dracula comes up and he's like, oh, hello, my friend, you're not going to just stare at him. You're going to be like, oh, hey, what's up, Dracula? Yes, I get that. I don't know, just something threw me off about it. And I felt bad that I felt that way. Because I want everybody to have fun.
The princesses are fictional characters, to be fair. Yes, of course they are. But they're very different fictional characters than, say, Mickey Mouse.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see going up and talking to Mickey or Pluto or Goofy or Donald. Like, I would go talk to them and be like, I remember I saw Chip and Dale. And I think I interacted with them when I was at Universal Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or Disney Hollywood Studios.
Right.
But I don't think I would go up and talk to Belle.
No.
I don't know. Seems inappropriate.
Yeah. Like somehow. The only thing I would, and I didn't talk to Snow White. I just said thank you at the end. I took the picture and but I didn't get up there and be like, let me get a picture with you.
Like she was the babysitter. Like
yeah, right.
There's a line.
Yeah. Like, hey,
that
thanks for talking to my kids.
Should not be crossing.
Yeah. Okay, so then this isn't. So I told you I was going to Oga's Cantina after that. So this is kind of the flip side of it. So
and then Mike was flirting with Oga, and people were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, with the big glasses and stuff, right? So because wasn't that Oga? Oga's like the character with the big glasses in the first.
And she flew away with her jetpack and left her phone behind.
That's right. So anyway, here's what's hilarious about the reviews I'm going to give you now, because I want to talk about Mickey and Minnie's.
I'm going to double check and make sure that's Oga so that Star Wars people don't get
that's
mad
true.
at us.
Yeah, you don't want the Star Wars people getting. So look, I'm going to talk about Oga's Cantina. I'm going to talk about Rise of the Resistance. I'm going to talk about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Like, how long ago did all those things open? And I'm just now getting around to them. Like, what did you used to say about Coaster Radio? Yesterday's news today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So but better late than never, I guess. I mean, these rides opened up at a time where it was difficult for me to get out to the park. So I'm glad to finally get there. But Oga's Cantina, I remember wanting to get into when we came out for the Coaster Radio meetup in 2019, but it was booked solid. There was no way.
Oga is the crime boss of the Black Spire Outpost.
Okay,
so
there we
go. It's his cantina.
Okay, good. So Oga's not the character with the big glasses who's in episode
I'm going to look
7.
that up now.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but that's what I thought it was. Anyway.
Well, let me just tell you that to find it, I Googled little alien with big glasses Star Wars, and it's Maz Kanata.
That's what that was. So this whole time I thought it was
I'm glad I looked it up because there were Star Wars people driving their cars off of cliffs.
Oh my God. Okay. So Oga's Cantina basically is like Galaxy Edge's version of the cantina on Mos Eisley, right? Okay.
Right.
And you go in there and they do it up, man. You walk in there, the door's shut, and you are in a Star Wars bar. It's pretty fantastic. They've got a droid up there spinning records as a DJ. This place is packed solid. And my dad, this is what's so funny. So my dad's there. My dad in high school played football. He wrestled for the high school team and stuff. He's like a jock type guy, right? He walks in there and he's looking at me and rolling his eyes like, what are you bringing me to? What
he had the same reaction as you to the guy talking to the princess.
Yes,
he did. What are we doing in here with these dolls?
Yeah,
this place is full of dolls.
He's like, what is this place? Like,
your action figures, Dad.
And I'm like, Dad, it's a Star Wars bar. And so this is what's funny. It's kind of the flip side. Like those guys wanted to meet princesses, but I'm like, I want to have a drink in the Star Wars bar.
But Dad, it's my imagination.
It's so
Fairy
great.
tales, kid.
But I gotta say, my wife, who is not into Star Wars, walked in there and she goes, all right, this is pretty cool. This is
okay,
fun.
good.
Yeah.
Great.
So this place is so packed, by the way, that even though we had a group of 6, they made us sit at a booth with 2 other groups.
What?
So like they did not give us our own booth. They're like, sorry, we're so packed today. You're going to have to sit with other people at your table.
How big is the booth?
The booth fit like 2 people on the edge, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I think 8. So I think it seated like 10 people. So
That's
it
a
was our
big
group
booth.
of 6 and 2 groups of 2. But man, those people were cool, and it was so fun to talk with them. They were just there to have a good time. We were all laughing and having
They
some
weren't
drinks.
discussing their interactions with the princesses.
No, they weren't. They weren't there.
I
One
think
guy,
Rapunzel likes me.
yeah, one guy was a Disney travel agent. We were talking with him. He used to be a disc jockey. He was a great guy, and he was there with 2 nice women who were there with him. And there was another couple who was there, and they were telling us good drinks to get. So we were having a good time. It was also nice to get in out of the heat for a little bit. It was a hot California day, so I think everybody appreciated that. Here's the one thing, though. It's weird when you have that much immersive stuff going on around you, but then yet the server who comes by is not immersive at all. So like, and I'm not looking to have conversations with the server about like, oh, where's the huts? Are the huts here? Or like, I don't want to say, bright skies or bright suns or whatever you're supposed to say to the people as a greeting. But still, it's weird to me when I look at the menu and I say, hey, between these 2 drinks, sir, which one do you think is the best one? And he looks at it and he's like, oh, I'd go with the Jedi juice there. And the reason is because it reminds me of this drink I had at a bar in Cincinnati once. And I was like, wait, Cincinnati?
The planet Cincinnati?
Yeah, or like, is that a star system, sir? Like, he totally he was not in character at all. He was just like, I'm over this. I'm over this now. I'm just going to be like Ted from Cincinnati here. And, So
he was like Janine Garofalo and Cable Guy.
Yes, exactly.
He's
Yeah,
like,
just like,
dude, I got a lot of tables.
yeah, that's exactly what he was. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, and so by the way,
Forsooth,
this,
fair wench,
yeah,
I need a goblet of Romulan ale.
that's what it was.
We have Pepsi.
Yeah. Now, here's what's interesting. This is happening at a lot of places where you go into a popular place and they tell you, you've got 45 minutes here, or you've got 90 minutes here. Like, and this happens at a lot of tiki bars too, where it's like, hey, if you're going to come in, you got to make room for other people after 90 minutes. And, I think that's a bummer in one way, but I also get it too, at a really popular place to get people in, so that it doesn't happen like what happened to us when we came in 2019, where we couldn't get in at all.
No, right.
because people will go in and sit and stay in there for hours. That will come up a little bit later in a story I'll tell. But I got to say, it was so much fun in there, and the drinks were legit. Like, they were not watered down Disney juice. Like, they had some. The one drink I had was like a cranberry and vodka or something drink that was just amazing. Maybe one of the best drinks I've ever had was there. But just a cool atmosphere and fun to kind of hang out a little bit and meet some new people. So that was cool. So the other thing too is that we're seeing all of this interactivity and cool stuff going on at Epic Universe. Look like characters walking around the Monsters Land and the Isle of Berk, things happening, like a lot just of kinetic energy. It seemed to me the Star Wars land was dead. Like there were a ton of people walking around, but not much going on. Like, yeah, I saw Kylo Ren walk through and completely scared Emma, by the way. She was like terrified of the stormtroopers. She was like scared of their guns, which I did not know. Like, I was like kind of smiling and like, oh, look, Kylo Ren. But she was like hiding behind me because she was really scared of that.
Sure, he's a big dude.
Yeah. Chewie and Rey were walking around, but that was about it. There wasn't like much else in terms of like, any interactivity or stuff. Like, and that's, I always thought that's what they promised us with this land, and it just didn't happen.
There was always the promise of more, and we never ever got it. Talking about Disney versus Universal, it'll be interesting to see how much that changes at Universal, because there is a lot going on. It seems from the videos that we've been watching, there's a lot going on at Universal, Epic Universe. But again, you're right. We'll have to see. There were crowds, though, right? It was still crowded. It was
crowded. It was
tourists,
very crowded.
Just not a lot of interactivity with the environment or with any cast members.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
the
okay.
line for Rise of the Resistance was 90 minutes. It was 90 minutes. And
Wow.
that was something that I said as I was going in. I was like, I can't leave here without getting on Rise of the Resistance. It's like, it's the one ride that I've been wanting to get on.
Part of
for
why
years.
I'm here, right?
Yeah. And like to be able to talk about it for Coaster Radio. So they have the thing where you can, it's essentially the pay lightning lane.
Yes.
And it's the only ride in the park where, depending on how busy it is, you can get on the ride if you pay a certain amount. So at that time of day, it was $27. $27 to skip the 90-minute wait and go right to the pre-show. And so I'm looking at my kids, one of whom is sick, and I'm like, I can't wait 90 minutes and like leave everybody. So I said, all right, I'm going to pay the $27 for 2 people. We're going to go ride this. I know it's a 20-minute experience.
That's
we'll be out
fine.
of there in 20 minutes because it's what you have to do. And so I was pretty impressed. You go down the lightning lane thing and boom, you were in the pre-show room within seconds. Like it's that fast that they were able to get you in there. And like we said at the beginning, everything was in A mode. Nothing was not working. I'm sure I don't have to go through the ride experience with you guys because it's so old now. But like I said, I wish that I had not seen YouTube videos of this ride because in person, it's so impressive. And I can't remember, EB, did you get on this ride?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. It's
And
so impressive in person.
I had some B mode on when I rode it.
Yeah. But
yeah,
even the lead up to it.
Oh, it's
like,
incredible.
The pre-show with Ray explaining what's happening, and then when you get on the transport that gets taken over by the first order.
It is kind of like you were saying at Olga's, how you are not allowed to stay and just look around. I was frustrated whenever I would get moved from one area to the next.
I was frustrated too.
It was like, I would rather just stand here and wait for like the next group to cycle just so I could watch it again from the other side of the room, or ride the transport twice so I could look forward and ride it again to look backwards. Because you're constantly, when you're in an immersive environment like that, you're constantly missing things. And as somebody who wants to experience everything, I feel it. I just feel it that I'm missing stuff.
Yeah. And I was shocked at people, like maybe they're all locals who have done this ride 1,000 times, but when the shuttle is, abducted and brought into the spaceship and, and how amazing is it that you walk in one door and then you walk out the same door and it's a completely different atmosphere. Like
so fun.
That's awesome. But when you're in that huge hangar and all of the stormtroopers there, and there's that big, huge, like 200-foot wall that it looks like with just like space out there and TIE fighters flying by. Nobody stops to look at it. Like they're just walking through like, oh, get me to the ride. And I'm standing there kind of in awe at finally seeing this. And they're like pushing us through. And I'm like, no, wait, I want to stand here for a second and look at this. And I'm the only one in the room taking pictures. And the first order person's yelling at me to keep moving, which I like that. I like that the cast members in that ride are all in character and telling you to move and you're a prisoner. And I appreciated that. That was fun. But yeah, man. I mean, and the ride vehicles for the thing, like how smooth they move and how fast they are.
Yep.
Amazing. And it's amazing. Like, and this to me makes me realize that YouTube videos do not do any of these attractions justice.
No.
It's why I don't want to watch the Universal Epic Universe stuff, because it does not give you the real thing. It just kind of lets you know what's coming up, but does not prepare you for like the things you feel and the wind and the heat and all that stuff. And so,
but did you feel like it spoiled you? Because you've seen the ride shows for this.
Yes, I feel it spoiled me because I feel like
it spoil you enough. Okay, that
yes,
okay.
Yeah, I feel like I would have been blown away.
It is very different when you actually finally get on the ride itself.
Yes.
And in that way, I feel like it's like, it's going to be good, and then it does meet your expectations when you're on it because it is better than the POVs every time. Every time, I think.
Oh yeah, it was definitely better than any POV I saw. But like the problem was, I knew scene by scene what was coming up next.
The surprise, especially on a ride, I guess a ride that is a story.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You knew the story so that you didn't actually get the immersion of the storytelling, the experience and the environments, the characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
like
the story, you were not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
imagine coming in and seeing those AT-ATs and not knowing they were going to be there, or imagine like the surprise of the drop when you're, leaving the ship and stuff, and going underneath those cannons and stuff. Just these gigantic things that are practical and not screens. You have to love that ride because yes, they use screens, but you're not relying on them totally. Right. There's animatronics and. Yeah, man, and to see that ride in full A mode was great, so that was cool too. Another ride that we got to go on was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and so that was fun too. That was a great ride in terms of using those trackless vehicles, and it had a lot more motion than I was expecting. Way more, like it moved a lot, so that was really cool. And you got to appreciate like how awesome the projection mapping is.
Oh, really fun.
Oh, so great. So that was fun.
They did a great job, I feel like, of making the practical sets feel cartoony.
Yes.
Right? It blended really well. I love that ride.
Yeah. And then one last thing, like, and this is fun. Like as much as we were talking about, like, is it weird or is it not weird for adults to talk to the princesses and stuff? They had a Star Wars night. They closed Disneyland at 8:00 on Thursday night, and Star Wars night started from 8 till 1. And they had all of these awesome things for people to do. But as we were leaving, the Star Wars fans were pouring into Disneyland. And there were literally thousands of people coming in. Like it wasn't a couple hundred. It was like thousands of people all dressed as Jedis, as Wookiees, as stormtroopers, as bounty hunters. It was... It was like nerddom to the 10th degree, but it was awesome because everybody just was smiling. Everybody was having a good time. I wished I could have been in there with them, man, just to see what it was like, because I like Star Wars, but I'm not to that level of fan. But man, those people were getting ready to have a good time, and it put a smile on my face as I saw it, because just how many people were there was great. It was really great. So
that's awesome. That's fun.
Again, and my dad does not get it. He's like, "What's wrong with these people?" He keeps saying that, like
nerds. I want to punch all of them.
I know. My dad's like seeing it like a big dude with like a big Jedi robe with him walking. He's got it over his eyes, and my dad's like, "They're gonna arrest that guy. He looks like he's up to no good.
The guy's a terrorist. I've seen him before."
Yes, it's so funny. So that was good. One last thing I want to say about just the Disney experiences I made after all the kids went to bed. We went to Trader Sam's, and we went up to the host who was there. And Trader Sam's closes at midnight. We got there at 10:30. And so this is like most times, like people you meet at Disney, like the cast members, they're like overly friendly. But like this dude was kind of insufferable. Like he was, so we went up and we said like, hey, probably no seating inside, but can we put ourselves on a wait list to maybe get inside? And, maybe we'll have a drink out here on the patio and wait. And he's like,
okay,
well, I'll put your name down on the list, but you're not going to hear from me. And I was like, well, what does that mean? What he's like, yeah, I'll put your name down, but you're not getting in. And I was like, yeah, but isn't it 11 o'clock? It's open seating. Like maybe somebody gets up from the bar and I could get in. He's like, yeah, you're not getting in. No, nobody's going to get up. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to put my name in anyway, and maybe I will hear from you. And he's like, no, you won't. You won't hear from me. So anyway, we went around the corner, ordered from like the
Is there a character from a movie that you're not familiar of?
I
that's
don't
like
know.
Johnny the a-hole?
Yeah, he was just being an a-hole. And it's like,
was that his character?
You're working at Trader Sam's. Don't
That's
you have to
shocking.
be like, say aloha or something? I don't know. Like what the dude like was just couldn't have been unfriendlier. So
wow.
We went around and we found a great place to sit because Trader Sam's is right by the Disneyland pool, and they have an outdoor walk up, get the exact same drinks that are inside, just at the walk up bar, and they'll even order you food and stuff. And we went and sat with this view of the Disneyland pool. And it was great. Nobody was over there. There was a nice heater on it. So it was like sitting outside. It was really great. Then I get a text saying, your table's ready. And I was like, huh? So I went back around and there's the same a-hole dude. And I said, oh, I thought I wasn't going to hear from you. What is this? He's like, oh, well, we have a table for you outside if you want. I was like, well, I already got one of those around the corner. What? I want to sit inside. What's going on there? And he's like, oh, yeah, you're not going to hear from me from that. So this got me thinking about the traders. I mean, the time limits they had at Oga's. Like, why not
Right.
have the same at Trader Sam's where, like, you can't come in and just sit at the bar for 4 hours? Why don't you say, like, hey, come in, have 2 or 3 drinks, and then you got to go and make room for somebody else? I think that's okay. I think that's the way it should be at a place like that because there is so much demand to get in. And they're going to sell more drinks that way, right?
I think you got to do both. I think you have to figure out a way to do both where you can, if you have a reservation or if you keep ordering, you can stay.
Right.
But you can't
just sit there. Yeah, you can't hang out and like
take a seat.
sip your drink. Yeah.
No, that's not cool. And you would hope that people would just be cool and recognize that there's a big crowd outside and maybe you should give up your seat.
Yeah.
But maybe we do have to enforce it because obviously there's a-holes even at Disney.
Yeah, because even if you were let's say you're in the bar for like 90 minutes or, you know,
Right.
you could still take a drink outside and get more drinks outside, but give it up so other people can get it. I would be happy doing that. So anyway, that was sort of like all the highlights of the Disney trip. Going out to the coast was great. We stayed at a place called San Clemente, which is right in between LA and San Diego. Took the train down to San Diego. That was cool. But man, a beautiful town. If anybody ever has a chance to go there, the only theme park related thing that's there is a tiki bar themed after the movie Goonies.
Yes, it is.
Which is and it lives up to the hype. It's pretty awesome. It's like you were drinking in the hull of the ship that the Goonies find at the end of the movie. That's what the theme is. And
That's so great.
They did it up right. There are pictures of Chunk as a captain on the wall and things like that. The only funny thing is though, they have weird hours. So like they say, we close at 11-ish. And so it's like, well, what does that mean? If I get there at 10, what's going to happen? So we got there at 10 and the guy's like meets us at the door. He's like, we're doing last call in 6 minutes. And I was like, well, okay, that's all right. That we'll do it.
I'll
order
come in and I'll get one drink then.
One drink. Yeah. So we sit in the cave that they have, the grotto. And, you know, I ordered a Navy grog and the guy, you know, I see him over there making it and he brings over the drinks. And with the drinks is the check. So it's like, oh,
sure. Yeah.
Like, come
he's telling
on.
you, he's making sure you know.
Come
I'm looking at
on.
it. This place is awesome.
Oh, it's
This is
awesome.
great.
It's
I'm looking
awesome.
at
It's really
pictures.
great. I was bummed at the check coming with the drink because it was like, oh, really? Like, can't have a second one really quickly? Like, you can't hook us up? Like, we're here?
These
I
drink
even told
names
the
are
guy, I was like,
fantastic.
yeah, I said, dude, I traveled like 3,500 miles to see this place. Like, really? He's like, yeah, you're going to have to come back. And they are closed on Monday and Tuesday. So, like, I was there.
You couldn't go back. And
I couldn't go back.
And you didn't even get a Goonies drink. You got a Navy grog.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm
I'm looking at these drinks.
Yeah. They've got like.
The Chester Copper Pot.
Copper-
You can order a One-Eyed Willie, a Hey
Yes.
You Guys, a Blue Astoria, a Truffle Shuffle, a Rocky Road.
Yeah. So great.
That's
so great.
A
Yeah.
Never Say Die.
Yeah, see, it's fantastic. Yeah,
This is
and I was so
awesome.
bummed that I didn't get a chance to go back because
I love it.
they're weird
I love
hours.
it. Well,
so.
you went. You checked it off your list. Good job.
I did get there. I
I love
there.
their swizzle sticks. I like to collect the swizzle sticks. They've got a swizzle stick that's got got a ship anchor on the bottom and a pirate sail at the top, and then Lost Inferno in the middle in the
Yes.
Goonies font. That's
Yeah.
great.
I want to see if I can get look on them for the mug that's got the big giant ship though.
I'm looking at a mug. It's got One-Eyed Willie on one side, and it's got the skeleton piano on the other side.
Ooh,
That's
see?
pretty cool.
I might have to order one of those because if this place was like, I don't know, I'm wondering how long this place might be in business.
Oh,
because
there's the pirate ship's like a boat. I mean,
Yeah, and-
like a bowl.
and the sails or the masts are the swizzle
The swizzle sticks.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Yeah. So fun stuff, man. It was a fun trip, and
That's
even though
great,
we
man.
had, by the way, like so Emma had strep throat on day 1, but then Claire got strep throat on like day 7. So we're in San Clemente at an urgent care.
And then
Yeah,
you got
so
it on day 10. Yeah.
so
and
just
then your
everybody gets
dad,
it.
he just shrugged it off because he's
Yeah.
a tough guy.
Yeah, right. So he's like, I'm good. Anyway, so there's the trip, man. It was a good trip and a lot of fun, and I'm glad I finally got to get on those rides that I've been waiting 5 or 6 years to get
Heck
on.
yeah.
And that the review of it is now like 6 years late, but that's how we do it here at Costa Rica.
No, that's great. Now, you get your Disney cred back again, and you experienced the Disney magic, Mike. You renewed your Disney magic,
Yes.
a half a century celebration.
There you
and
go.
You got your Disney
Yes.
magic back again. That's good.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So,
Well, all right.
yes.
Well, we're going to talk Universal next week, Mike. So
Yes,
you
yes.
are convinced that you're still a Disney guy, but we'll see if next week when we have a couple of our old friends back on the show, who know Universal inside and out. One might even say they've written the book on it, Mike.
Oh,
But
yes, it's going to be
my
so great.
teaser. Next week, talking
teaser.
Universal, and the week after that, it's going to be the 20th anniversary episode of Coaster Radio with The Ultimate. Remember, that's Wednesday, 9 p.m., May 6th. That's Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, May 6th. If you want to play The Ultimate, live.coasterradio.com. Put it on your calendar. Mike, let's say thanks to everybody who supports the show and keeps the content coming every week.
Yes, we want to thank everybody who helps us out, whether you, do it by word of mouth, whether you tell friends to listen, whether you go to Amazon.com by going to coasterradio.com first and doing your shopping that way. So many great ways, whether you leave reviews on iTunes, whatever you're going to do. But we thank people who go to patreon.com/coasterradio. That's where there are perks and bonus content, and a lot of great things, people who keep the show going there. But one of those perks is at the $20 level where we read your name.
That's right. We read your name at the $20 level. The Snail Mail Club's at the $10 level. You get into the Discord at any level. It's patreon.com/Coaster Radio. Let's say thanks to Alex Payne, Ashton Rowe, Brian Wackler, Chris Rankin, Cincinnati Nick, the Sweatshirt Guy, our friends at Club Z, the two bearded coaster Chris's, CM Venom, Colton Toms, Dino, Grace, and John Brody.
Also John Brown, Josh Combs, Justin Padilla, Karen and Lee Howlren, Kevin Wilson, Kyle Kiefer, our friends at Made to Thrill, Matt Walker, Michael Foucault, Nick from Paris, Paulo de los Reyes, Rich Barber, Rick Burnley, Tom from Louisville, and Zachary Carpenter.
That's right, and thanks to our friend Kyle Lindner of Lindner Design Company, specializing in branding, illustration, and small batch custom apparel. You can find them on Instagram at Lindner Design.
Yes, it's great to be back, man. It's fun. And
Yeah,
we've
it's
got some
super
great shows coming up here as we get into Epic Universe next week and the anniversary show after that. And then, man, we're getting into like the good time of the year. Summertime, springtime, summertime, parks being open. It's great to be here at Coaster Radio.
You've been listening to Coaster Radio, the original theme park podcast. To learn more about the show and hear hundreds of episodes from the archives, visit our website at coasterradio.com. This is your announcer, Neil Patrick Harris. Thanks for listening. Peace out, suckers. Coaster Radio is a production of Lift Hill Media, LLC. Audio and video from this program may not be broadcast, edited, or reproduced without our express written permission. Copyright 2025, all rights reserved. This was all done in one breath.